Astro Intel. Welcome everyone to this deep dive. We're looking at the cosmic weather shaping things right now, Sunday, April 13th, 2025. You've pulled together some fascinating stuff on the current astrological energies, and well, our plan today is to unpack it, find the real gems, and figure out what it means for all of us. Straight off, there's this potent full moon in Libra, the pink moon, which just peaked yesterday, the 12th. When you look at this one, what core themes just pop out?
Yeah, what's really striking is that strong sense of like renewal, but also seeking equilibrium. Your sources really highlight that. A full moon, it's always a culmination, bringing things more into the light. And with it in Libra, the sign of the scales, well, that focus naturally shifts to our relationships, right? The balance, the give and take.
Yeah.
So you might find any imbalances feel particularly obvious now, making you want more harmony.
Okay, that feels super relevant because, as you also pointed out, Venus just finished its retrograde. That was, what, 40 days?
40 days.
That's a pretty long time for a planet to seem like it's going backwards. So now that Venus is moving direct, what's the biggest shift we might feel?
Well, if we connect it back to that Libra full moon theme of balance, Venus going direct signals a pretty key moment for how we deal with relationships and our values. Retrogrades are always these crucial times for reflection, for reassessing things. So over the last month and a bit, maybe you were rethinking what you truly value, relationship dynamics, maybe even money stuff. With Venus direct now, it's kind of like, okay, time to actually use those insights, time to make those adjustments you were thinking about. You'll likely feel things starting to move forward again in those areas.
Right, that makes sense. It's like the universe hit pause on those Venus things,
Right.
and now we can press play again, but hopefully with a clearer idea of where we're going. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. The material also mentions this Venus-Mercury-Saturn cluster you can see before dawn. That sounds like a big deal. Why is this particular meetup so noteworthy?
Yeah, it really gets you thinking about how these different energies mix, doesn't it? So Mercury went direct in Pisces back on the 7th, right? So that probably already started clearing up communication channels, maybe some mental fog lifting, which is usually a relief. Now you add Venus love, values, joining Mercury thinking, talking, and Saturn structure, responsibility, all hanging out together in the morning sky. Well, it's potent. You might find yourself having more serious, maybe more thoughtful conversations about relationships or finances, but approached with a bit more realism, maybe. Saturn adds that element of commitment, of long-term thinking, to how we express affection or decide what's really important.
So it's pushing us maybe beyond just like fleeting feelings towards something a bit more solid.
Exactly, and the fact this is happening in Pisces, which is such an emotional, intuitive, even spiritual water sign, that adds another layer. It suggests these grounded talks and decisions about Venus stuff, love, money, values, they're probably going to be infused with our deeper feelings and maybe even our spiritual beliefs.
Okay, so we've got the full moon pushing for balance and connections, Venus coming out of retrograde saying go time for acting on what we've learned, and then this morning alignment telling us to be thoughtful and committed about it all. It really feels like a heavy focus on the interpersonal stuff right now.
That's a really key point. The whole picture right now is definitely weighted towards how we relate to each other and what we genuinely find meaningful. The Libra full moon, like your sources say, it invites us to reflect on our partnerships and the balance between our own needs and those of others. It's a cosmic nudge, isn't it? Look at those scales. Are they tipped too far one way? One source specifically mentioned that tension you sometimes get with Libra wanting independence versus wanting deep connection. You might really feel that push-pull now.
And it's good to remember this isn't just romantic partners, is it? Libra covers all sorts of relationships, friendships, work colleagues.
Oh, absolutely. Any us and them dynamic gets illuminated. That need for fairness, for reciprocity, for really understanding each other, it's all heightened. The full moon is kind of asking, hey, are you always giving more than you get? Or maybe taking more? Is it genuinely balanced?
Definitely gives you something to chew on. The material also suggests some practical things like journaling, meditating, talking to people close to you. Why are those particularly helpful now?
Well, they're great ways to actively work with these energies, right? Not just let them happen to you. Journaling gives you that private space to sort through thoughts and feelings about relationships and values that maybe came up during the Venus retrograde or that the full moon is highlighting now. Meditation helps quiet the mind so you can actually hear your intuition, get clearer on what feels balanced for you. And obviously, having open, honest chats with people, that directly tackles the Libra focus on partnership and harmony. It's about actually joining the conversation the cosmos is having.
It almost sounds like this period is less about huge external shakeups and more about needing to do some inner work, making maybe subtle shifts in how we connect with the world.
That's a really insightful way to frame it, yeah. While things are definitely moving celestially, the main focus now seems to be on integrating what we've learned and making conscious choices moving forward, especially in relationships and aligning with our values. That renewal the pink moon talks about. It might not be about finding brand new people, but maybe about refreshing the energy and the connections you already have, or just recommitting to your own self-worth.
So for everyone listening, navigating the next few days, it sounds like a really good time for some honest self-check-ins around relationships and a chance to act on anything Venus retrograde brought up.
Precisely. Yeah, take some time, really think about where things might feel off balance, especially in how you interact with others. Are there conversations you need to have? Are your actions really lining up with what you say you value? The stars are basically giving a supportive nod to doing that kind of reflection and then taking the next steps.
Okay, looking ahead just a bit now. The sources preview some upcoming shifts. Mercury goes into Aries on the 16th, Venus follows on the 30th, Mars hits Leo on the 18th. What kind of vibe change does that signal?
Ah, yeah, those definitely signal a shift in the overall energy, quite a distinct one. With both Mercury and Venus moving into Aries, that fiery take charge sign expect communication and relationship styles to get more, well, assertive, more action oriented. Decisions might happen faster. You might feel more inclined to just go after what you want, maybe more boldly. Then Mars entering Leo adds even more fire. Boosts confidence, encourages more visible creativity and self-expression. It's definitely a move away from the introspective, watery Pisces energy we've had. Like specifically with Mercury hitting Aries, conversations might just get much more direct, maybe less beating around the bush.
It sounds like things might start feeling a bit more
Oh.
dynamic, maybe less quiet thinking and more putting things into action.
Exactly. That initial phase of focusing on balance and rethinking things starts to transition into a phase of more direct, outward kind of engagement with the world. You might feel a stronger urge to lead, to say what you need more openly, and just generally pursue things with more energy.
Okay, but we also see mention of potentially trickier energy later in April, specifically Mars opposing Pluto around April 26th. That sounds like it could stir things up a bit.
Yeah, that Mars-Pluto opposition, Mars being action and desire, Pluto being deep transformation and power. That can definitely kick up some intense energy. It often brings power struggles to the surface, maybe confrontations, a need to deal with underlying issues around control, authority. But importantly, it's also a massive opportunity for really deep, lasting change, for letting go of old patterns that aren't working anymore. It's just a reminder that big growth often means navigating some tricky stuff.
And kind of woven into all that, the sun moves into Taurus on April 19th. How does
Yeah.
that flavor things?
The sun entering Taurus usually brings a nice, grounding, stabilizing feel. Taurus is Earth, right?
Mm.
Value security, comfort, the tangible side of life.
Oh,
So that transit encourages us to slow down a bit,
mm.
appreciate what we have, focus on building stability. It's a good counterpoint to the more impulsive Aries energy and might help smooth out any bumps from that Mars-Pluto thing.
It's really fascinating how all these different movements weave together, isn't it? Such a
Right.
complex dance. The notes also mention the Lyrid meteor shower peaking around the 21st, 22nd, and a Taurus new moon on the 27th. How do those fit in?
Well, the Lyrids, meteor showers are always a bit magical. That sense of wonder, possibility, a nice reminder of the bigger cosmic picture. And the Taurus new moon, coming right after the sun moves into Taurus, that's a really fertile time for setting intentions, especially intentions around security, comfort, personal values, all very Taurian themes, planting seeds for stability and growth in those areas.
Right. And finally, there's this interesting alignment. Saturn conjuncts the North Node in Pisces around April 14th. For people who track karmic astrology, what's the deeper meaning there?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a significant one from a karmic angle. The North Node is often seen as like our soul's growth path in this life, where we're heading evolutionarily. Saturn joining it suggests there are important life lessons, maybe responsibilities, that we're being called to step up to, related to our long-term spiritual growth. It can highlight areas where we need to mature, take ownership of our path, and really align our actions with our higher purpose. And being in Pisces, this could involve things like developing more compassion, trusting our intuition more, or maybe getting serious about spiritual practices.
So putting it all together, as we've explored, it's a really rich time for finding balance, getting some emotional clarity, embracing renewal, especially with that Libra full moon energy still lingering
Yeah,
and Venus now direct.
definitely. Harmony in relationships, rethinking personal values, those are really front and center right now.
And the coming weeks look set to shift gears, right? With Mercury and Venus heading into Aries, Mars into Leo, Sun into Taurus, suggesting more action, confidence, and a focus on building stability.
Exactly. Plus, those moments for reflection like the Lyrids and the Taurus new moon.
And that Mars-Pluto opposition later in the month is just a reminder that transformation isn't always easy, involves dealing with power, maybe letting go a bit, something to keep in the back of your mind.
And maybe consider this too. With Saturn meeting the North Node, are there perhaps some karmic lessons starting to bubble up for you around your big goals, your spiritual path? It's definitely an alignment that nudges you to look at the bigger picture.
Well, we really hope this deep dive into what's happening astrologically has given you some useful things to think about, some valuable insights. Keep noticing what's happening for you. Keep reflecting. Maybe even jot down some notes about your experiences during this pretty dynamic time. What new beginnings are you feeling drawn towards right now?